You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Bark and Wag is excited to announce our new partnership with a Colorado hemp farm to produce a line of CBD products for your pets. Bark and Wag has CBD pet tincture available in 300, 750, 1200, and 2400 milligrams. Bark and Wag CBD is pet safe, no THC, it's made in the USA, and is CO2 extracted. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That is BARK, to see our line of CBD and awesome merchandise. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise, so anytime send an email to Polly at barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Kersti Moss, certified dog trainer at Dog Training Camp USA. Welcome, Kersti.
Hi, Polly. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast, and we always look forward to your tips. So I have a question from a listener.
Sure.
How do you get your dog to drop an item from its mouth?
Oh, that's a good question. And I think something everybody deals with, stealing items, whether it's your remote control or your glasses or a pill, things they shouldn't have. The first thing that I teach everybody, and this is really hard to do, but the first thing is to control your reaction. So a lot of times dogs start to grab your things because you get really excited, whether you're yelling no or stop or whatever, hey, that's mine. A lot of times dogs are like, ooh, you like this. So they continue to do that. And then it trains them to keep doing that because they always get that reaction. So first thing is don't give a big reaction, try to stay neutral. And then the other thing that I do first is grab something else. So it's a little bit opposite of what you would think to do right away, but go for their toy, go grab something squeaky, run away. You want to be something exciting, like run to the other side of the room, pick up their toy. Ooh, and that's the most important thing. And 9 times out of 10, your dog is going to chase you because, oh, you just went and got something else super cool. So you kind of want to just redirect in a very exciting, happy way. And then when your dog gets to you, trade them. So give them that squeaky toy, play with them, and grab that item, get your glasses out of their mouth or whatever it is that they grabbed, so that what you're reinforcing instead is a fun game of trade instead of you chasing your dog to get that item that they got. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I can see, for example, if the dog takes the remote and then you start chasing it around, they think it's a game.
Yeah, right away. The other thing to do with that is think about why dogs grab the items that they're grabbing. So a lot of times they're getting the remote or your phone or your shoes, your glasses. They get all of the things that we have our scent on and that we're touching. And so it smells like us and we get excited. So it's like the ultimate reward. They're like, I'm grabbing this remote because it's important to you. It smells like you and you make a big deal out of it. So in turn, what I always recommend people do is pick up your dog's toys, play with them, put your scent on them, handle them every once in a while, interact with their toys, play tug a little bit, all of those things so that you're accentuating how important their toys are. Ooh, that's a good boy when they pick it up. Make a big deal out of it. So you're instead making a big deal out of their toys or the right things for them to grab instead of it being your glasses or your kids' shoes, things like that. And then also it kind of goes hand in hand with if you've got kids, you also have to manage and make sure that you have those things picked up as best as you can, because that's life. But just know that if things are out and available, they're going to still naturally gravitate towards them. But you also want to have the right things for your dog to get into so you can give them praise for that. But I guess to go back to how to get it out of their mouth is make it a fun trade. So it's not a negative chase after them where you create this game, but instead have them chase you for something else and make it a very positive, oh, good boy, when they come over to you and you can casually get it out of their mouth while you're trading.
Okay, so now the next step of that is, let's say you teach your dog how to drop. They drop the item, whether it's, you have a retriever and it's in a field and it's a, little dummy, toy, or you're in your living room. And then when you say drop, what is the next step so the dog doesn't pounce on it as you go to reach for it?
Ooh, that's a good one. So you're talking about like whether it's fetch
so
or
you teach it.
house.
Yeah, so like you teach your dog to drop an item from its mouth, which you explain how to do, but then how do you get your dog not to go after it as you're grabbing to pick it up to throw it or get your remote back?
So you want to have them drop it and then sit if your dog sits. So this also it kind of depends on what level you're at in your relationship with your dog. So if they listen to you mostly or they follow commands, have them sit, praise them, and then call them over to you if you're far away. So if your dog has distance on you, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, where you still want them to come to you so that if they've dropped the item, you can still grab it. So if they're far away, drop it, sit, or drop it and call them to you. Oh, good boy, praise them, and have your hand on their collar, especially if they've got, if your dog wears a collar in the house. Some people don't have collars on inside, but if they've got their collar on, grab their collar, praise them, pet them a little bit, and then redirect them onto something else so that you can get the toy. If you're right there in front of them, if you've done the trade, so if you got your dog to chase you or come towards you and you've got a toy, put that other item in their mouth so that you can pick up that remote. But if you see them drop it and they're about to go for it, you still need to take extra steps to change the game because they're still in that I'm going to get this kind of mode. So if you see your dog's dropped it and you know that they're probably going to get it again, do something else. So keep doing something different. Have them come to you, sit down so they come towards you, be real sweet. And this is the other thing. You always want it to be fun so you're not reprimanding either. It's not like a negative thing, but, oh, come over to me, or pet them a little bit, get down on the floor, do something silly. Even leaving the room, like running away or walking away, so you create like a chase where they're chasing you instead of you chasing them.
Okay.
Then come back to it. So once you've gotten your dog to come to you, praise them, and then come back to that item and get it up. That should help.
Okay.
But if you're doing...
Okay.
And we're kind of talking about different things too, because if you're doing fetch and they've come to you and they've dropped the ball, a lot of times if your dog is learning to fetch, I play it with two toys so that they drop an item and I have the next one ready to go. So when they drop it, you throw the next one, they go after that, and you can pick the other one up if you're outside.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I have one friend who has a golden retriever, and so the dog will drop it, but then when she goes to grab it, he puts his paws over it so that she can't pick it up.
Yeah. Well, so
it's like,
the other thing I do with that is if I get the dog to drop it and I'm standing, I'll step on the item. Like if it's a ball, I step on it and make them move away. So instead of pulling it from them, you're stepping on the ball and kind of claiming your space, making them move back. But that is only something you do if your dog isn't a resource guarder. So I don't want to teach anybody to do that if they're trying to do it over resource guarding. That you want to get some help with. But as long as, it's a happy game of fetch and they're just trying to grab that ball to keep it away from you, step on it, make them move back, and then pick it up. But
what does resource guarding mean?
So resource guarding is like, say your dog grabs your shoe and then they're growling over it. They get real stiff and guard it. So some dogs will guard an item that they've grabbed. And that's when you can trade for that, but you don't want to try to pull that away, or if it's something severe. And there are lots of different levels of it, but I don't want to tell anybody what to do. Like, this is not how you take an item from a dog that's resource guarding.
No, yeah. This is just, we're just in a field.
Yeah. As long as this is a happy game. Okay. Yep. Have them step on the ball, make them move back, or play with two toys so that you break that loop. So that you're just breaking that habit of them being able to do that, where you've got the second ball ready to go, grab their attention, throw it, and then you pick up the other ball while the dog is running towards the second ball. And then you can kind of stay in a loop. They bring it back and drop it. You have them sit, throw it, and pick up the ball when they've run away.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for being on the podcast, and we look forward to having you back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.